to have worked on Australia versus India and to have been part of the team that brought the series to all of us was to experience joy of another magnitude completely, was to become aware of what in these COVID times following India and Indian cricket means. It was a humbling and emotional experience for me personally, but I'm sure to all of you who are watching it, it was just a celebration of sport in these dark, difficult, dangerous times. I enjoyed the IPL as well. The IPL is just a celebration of sport. And the IPL told us that even in COVID times, we can have appointment viewing, bring a smile to people's faces. But for all the joy that the IPL generates, India does not play in the IPL. So when India's playing in Australia, back to the wall, the whole struggle, it captivated everybody. And to me, it just told you what sport can do in these times. And that is why I'm so keen to see how we take that ahead for India versus England. Another marquee series. There's points at stake at the World Test Championship. I'll come to that in a minute. But more than that, whether this series is able to live up to the hype and the expectations following Australia-India, but also whether it can bring joy to people. The whole world, including India, is just starting to limp back from COVID, and a great series will just be magnificent, will just be a cherry on top. I mean, I remember when we first heard about COVID. Let's go back actually, 2020. Why is India versus England that important? We didn't get a test match at home in 2020. All we got was 3 one-day internationals and 2 T20 games. I remember being in Dharamshala for the start of that series against South Africa. There were just murmurs of this virus coming around and whether it's going to start affecting play, whether South Africa want to go back, whether they want to stay in India. Dharamshala was rained off. As we were on our way to Lucknow, all the developments started to take place. By the time we landed in Lucknow, the series had been cancelled. But we didn't even know at that time that the IPL was going to get postponed, as it turns out, luckily, and not cancelled. And then, of course, this dreaded virus that we did not want and was forced on us took root and established itself all around the world and started decimating sporting calendars. We don't even know if the Olympics are going to happen. Can you imagine? It will probably be the first peacetime Olympics that will not take place. So that is just how bad COVID has been, and that has put sport and the place of sport in our society on a completely different pedestal. On a slightly more mundane note, why is this series as important? We've just had Mushtaq Ali tournament happening. If the Mushtaq Ali goes through without any interruption, without any alarms because of COVID, you're better prepared for India versus England. If India versus England goes through really well, then you can start thinking of having the IPL in India. If you can have the IPL in India, then the T20 World Cup in India. Those are the two big tournaments that BCCI and everyone's looking forward to. Can we manage the COVID protocol? I thought one of the great things for me in sport in 2020 in the IPL was how rigidly the COVID protocol was planned and enforced. So I'm hoping we can do that in India as well. That's the other thing I'm looking forward to. Do we have the discipline within us to maintain the same stringent protocols that we had? And then there's the World Test Championship. India sitting up there, and all of a sudden India almost certain of a place in that final to be played in England in June. And then because there's so much cricket not happening, the criterion changes to percentage of points won. So India now need to win by a 2-game margin. You either win 2-0 or 3-1. I mean, you win 3-0, 4-0, that's great. Last time India played England, India won 4-0 in a 5-test series. So I don't know if India is obsessed by that, but India will be aware of the fact that there is a World Test Championship at play and that therefore you need to qualify. So that's the other thing as the series goes along. Should by chance England win the first test, then suddenly India have got to win all the other 3. So it gives context to a series that I actually think does not need context, but it just adds that extra context to this series. So India versus England in India. Hopefully it'll be a fantastic series. What I would be very keen on seeing as the series goes on is if we are confident enough to get people into stadiums. I saw at the IPL with the sound effects created around the stadium, the players are hearing the sound effects as well. But yeah, that was plan B. If you can get crowds in, then that'll be brilliant, because I mean, as a lot of players have said, that the crowds just lift you. There was nobody at the Boxing Day Test match, nobody at that decider, well, not many at that decider in the Gabba. When I say nobody, you're used to seeing 80,000 people. But if we can start to get people in, maybe if the test matches in Ahmedabad, if the doctors and the medical people allow us, and then in the T20s, ODIs that follow, it'll be fantastic. Can it be as good as Australia versus India? Can anything be as good as Australia versus India? Cast those expectations aside, because that's a mountain to climb for any series anywhere in the world. Just cast that aside, clear your mind with an open mind. Watch India versus England.